Well, hello again from the Granite State, and welcome to the Restoring Main Street podcast. Patriotism. What does that mean? Well, I think most of us have a good idea of what we think patriotism means. But what is the narrative that the media, even our president and other officials, are trying to use to reshape the word patriotism or patriot? Well, like I've said in the past, and we're going to dig into this right now, words matter. Patriotism. Like I said, I think we all have a pretty good idea of what we feel patriotism is. You know, part of that is having respect for the flag when we see it. Well, if you're still in school, and I'm hearing that a lot of places have gotten away from this, but we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States when I was still in school, and we've kind of moved away from those things slowly but surely. So, what is it that they're trying to do with language and words these days? Well, like I said, they're trying to reshape the narrative, reshape culture, and one way of doing that is by taking and redefining what we know the meaning of everyday words to be. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to show you a few screenshots that I've taken just to help illustrate this from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. And the first shot that you're going to see is the latest version of that. So I want to show you what patriotism means today as far as Merriam-Webster. And as you can see here on the screen, the first line under synonyms and antonyms of patriotism, this sounds pretty familiar. Love and support of one's country. And they give an illustration. Her patriotism was so heartfelt that she devoted her life to serving her country. But if you look down just below that, when they start to talk about synonyms and other words related to patriotism, you see the word nationalism, you see the word chauvinism, and you see the word jingoism. I don't remember ever discussing those words, nationalism, unless you're talking about the Nazi Party and Germany back in World War II. But just as a further illustration, like I said, they've associated these words. So let me show you what today's Merriam-Webster basically has to say about the definition of nationalism. Nationalism. Excessive favoritism towards one's own country. Does not sound like a positive image that you're trying to paint when you associate patriotism with what they understand to be nationalism, or even the words below that, chauvinism, jingoism. This is the effort that I've talked about before when I've said to you that words matter, and part of what they're trying to do with our culture is to reshape those meanings. And they have taken this word and attempted in every possible way to make patriotism, or the idea of being a patriot, a dirty word. They're trying to make it something that gives you a completely negative connotation when you hear it. If you listen to President Biden, Merrick Garland, the mainstream media, when they talk about patriotism, they are trying to relate that in everything that they do today as a form of activism and relating it to domestic terrorism. to further cloud and reshape the meaning of that word, to give them a basis or a foothold or a reason to push back on the idea of anyone that has love of country. You've even seen them go to the extremes of targeting anyone or trying to identify groups that have any form of what might be considered patriotism. You listened, if you've listened to some prior podcasts of mine, I found something posted by Breitbart a little over a month ago that talked about the United States Postal Service and their actual monitoring of all of our social media with the program, the surveillance program of ICOP. That's Internet Covert Operations Program. In an effort to try and weed out or find or locate or establish who these quote-unquote patriots, or as they see them, white nationalists, white supremacists, domestic terrorists, under the guise of calling them patriots. So they're further trying to cloud the word. They're further trying to reestablish what that word means. And if we've learned anything, it takes maybe 30 days or so, and the further you get into that, to actually get ideas or change a group of people's thinking. The more times they hear it, the more that you re-emphasize what it is you're trying to get across to a group of people or individuals. And this is why you see a collective narrative coming from social media, coming from the White House, coming from government officials, in an attempt, like I said, to bastardize the word patriotism, patriot, and what that actually means. Now, I want to show you one last screenshot. This is Noah Webster, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. This is the 1828 definition of patriotism. Love of one's country. The passion which aims to serve one's country, either in defending it from invasion or protecting its rights and maintaining its laws and institutions in vigor and purity. Patriotism is the characteristic of a good citizen, the noblest passion that animates a man in the character of a citizen. A little bit different than what we're seeing, the narrative being changed to. And like I said, in the first screenshot, you saw the initial definition of what patriotism is. But what bothers me is the effort there that you see a very short, single line of definition, and then a quick flip to associated words, and then the following of those associated words, and how the negative connotations are being stirred up around the word patriotism. Like I said, I do these short clips, the words matter, in an attempt to just share with you quickly what I see as happening all around us, the effort that's being made in order to try and, like I said, reshape our culture. Unfortunately, I wish I had started this like 7 or 8 years ago, or even further back than that, but I didn't. And so they've got quite a foothold. They've had quite a long time, both culturally and through the media, in order to reshape what it is that, or how we see America and America's history and basically trying to turn the American public against its own country. And I think that those 3 screenshots clearly illustrate the change that has gone on and the effort being put forward here. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. This is the evil that lives in our country right now. And this is the brainwashing, the grooming, as I've said in the past, of our society. And if we see this in the mainstream media and what we see each day, and you understand that those that are trying to reshape the narrative or change this country, understand that in order to do that, the changing of the generational mindset is even more important. If you don't think some of these efforts are not being shared with your children in school, pay attention to your children's homework. This past year of COVID has at least given most of you a chance to see a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes. And if you still care about the true meaning of this country, the true principles with which it was founded, I urge you to continue to stay vigilant, dig a little deeper, and like I said, understand that there's an effort being made here, and words do matter. Okay, short and sweet. I will leave you with that, and also leave you with this: God, freedom, and country. Here we go again. How about God, freedom, and family? Sorry, I was fixated on country for a minute there, but because if we lose the first two, our family and our country is doomed. So thank you once again for just taking a few minutes, spending some time with me, and I appreciate it. Remember all those places that you can find us: BitChute, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Please go sign up, support, subscribe, share all of our content with your friends and family. That's the way the word gets out, and more of this information gets shared with other like-minded individuals, and we spread the word. So I thank you, and I leave you to the rest of your weekend. Thank you, and God bless.